two limpers, a small blind completes. I love the check and the big blind with queen jack suited. Once again, like the king jack hand earlier, it is tempting to raise since everyone's showing such weakness, and you have a pretty good hand with queen jack, but once again, being out of position, just not where you want to be, so it's best to keep the pot as small as you can. Queen d5 monotone is a pretty interesting flop. I wouldn't mind leading out here. Check raise is probably a pretty poor decision. Check calling wouldn't be, well, overbetting the pot, probably too big of a bet here. I think a better bet is 60 to 90, or even the full 120, but you don't want to make a habit of overbetting the pot. It's unnecessarily large. If someone's going to call, or if someone's going to fold to your bet, fold a spade or something, they'll fold to 100 as well as 132, so you might as well save yourself a few chips. When the flush comes, check fold is probably best. He does check. I don't really like check calling here. A guy like this with 50% VPIP, no aggression whatsoever, is most likely not bluffing here. And it would be pretty strange if you were betting a worse queen or something like that. The river goes check check, and somehow he has a pair of fives. Don't really understand it. I think this is kind of lucky rather than a good play. Lucky's good though. Always good to be lucky. Moving on. One limper, 4-7 suited, and the small blind completes. Don't really mind this play. Loose limper. Doesn't have a big stack, but you can justify completing any suited hand in this spot. 4-7 offsuit is probably a fold, but I definitely like the call with suited. And it's good for check folding this flop. And once again, a couple limpers, and comes to the button. Ace-9 suited for Kainer. Raising is good here, it's totally fine, but you definitely want to make it a little more. Like I said before, a good rule of thumb is your normal raise plus 1 big blind for each limper. And so 3 times is just a little too small. Nobody is going to fold anything that they limped in with to a raise so small, and you know, the point of raising in this spot is to thin out the field so you have a better chance of taking the pot down on the flop uncontested. So you just definitely want to make a bigger raise. And as predicted, that everybody calls. Obviously, after the all-in and call, our hand is a pretty obvious fold, but given how Puke Queen played that 5-4 hand against our Queen Jack earlier, I wish we did have a hand because we could call it off fairly light here. Not super light, but any kind of decent king, King Queen, King Jack, obviously Ace King. We have way more to worry about from the first better than Puke Queen. I'm pretty sure that Puke Queen doesn't have anything good. And, as predicted, Puke Queen has second pair. Oh well. Hopefully we'll have Ace King next time. We got a min raise from Under the Gun plus 2 flats, and with King 6 in the big blind, this is definitely a fold. This is a pretty bad call. King 6 is just dominated by so much of these guys' range. You're out of position. I think the worst hand in this spot that I would call with is like a King 10. Even a King 10 against these guys with this opener has a tight raising range. These guys aren't the loosest players in the world. They're loose, but a lot of dominating hands are in their range, so I think a King-Jack, King-10 is probably around the bottom that your range should be in this spot. And things like suited connectors are good calling hands from the big blind here, but King-6 is just not what you're looking to play. Good check fold, 6-high flush draw is not something you want to continue with.